Greetings, my name is Anton Rao and I'm a developer of FlowR, the software designed to simplify end-user interaction with statistical computing environment called R. Popularities R is thriving, but still there are some difficulties to use this platform by scientists and statisticians without experience in R. And even when they have some knowledge in the field, it's quite often not a very user-friendly procedure. There are the following problems when dealing with pure R. First of all, it's a console-based interaction with R scripts. It means that users have to adjust manually parameters for specific data analysis in the text of the scripts. Therefore, the knowledge of R language and programming in general is required. Then, there are difficulties in organization of consistent and reproducible workflow when data processing should be split into multiple dependent steps. Another problem is the distribution of complex R script sets, which possibly may be executed by non-programmers. And at last, managing the data output produced during the data analysis stage, becoming more cumbersome. FlowR provides a new way of dealing with these issues. First of all, it helps R programmers to visually create and support R workflows by splitting complicated R scripts into several logically interconnected steps in Visual Designer. Moreover, it is possible to design analysis workflow in such a way that FlowR may suggest the best route to go for further analysis, and the user can see a decision tree and control the execution. The tool also allows statisticians to expose necessary parameters on the graphical user interface, so that end users can modify them without even seeing the script itself. In a way, it strongly resembles a well-known shiny software solution, but FlowR is completely desktop-oriented application. Here you can see application main screen. Usually there are two scenarios when using FlowR. First, creation of bundles and specific workflows by R programmers. Secondly, data analysis performed by end users using existing bundles. Let's start with a simple demonstration of basic features of FlowR. First, we need to design a workflow. You may have as many workflows per bundle as you wish. For the starters, we shall be using a single one. In a way, a workflow is like a canvas, where a designer of a bundle can visually build a scheme how the analysis should be done, in which order and depending on the input of the user. I would like to show how FlowR can present data parameters as well as an output of scripts. Also, one can see how easy it is to make an execution of R scripts interactive. So here we are, the workflow diagram editor. Building blocks are the units, and they present individual logical steps of the workflow. Each workflow can have only a single starting point, which is defined by start unit. This unit is activated when users start data analysis, and by connecting it to the other units, we can plan how data processing should be done. Then we have so-called script units. To be precise, there are two of them: pure script unit that doesn't have any UI output, and script unit, the main building block of any workflow, which has capability to display visual UI to the user. Script units may contain any kind of R code, whether it is a custom R function, a single line of R code, or the whole huge single script. Pure script unit is very useful for initialization tasks and fits very well if one has to define custom R functions due to good performance. In most cases, these operations happen only once and doesn't require any input from the user. In our demonstration, I shall put some initialization code together with some helper functions to the first pure script unit. I'll copy some existing code from RStudio. Now let's put a small node with some useful information. Now I want to present you which types of parameters can be displayed by FlowR. It is a straightforward representation of R arguments in the user interface, so the user shouldn't know even how R script looks like. Intercommunication between FlowR and R itself is implemented via a single global variable. The name of the variable is FlowR, as you can see it here. Let's give some description. So this step was initialization, and this step is responsible for displaying parameters. As about text reporting, the best way to go is to produce HTML pages with help of knitr package. We shall use it across of all our steps. In the next step of our workflow, I shall try to display some data from data frames. There are multiple ways to pass this information from R to FlowR, like export of CSV files, database tables, or even a direct access to data frames. So I wouldn't recommend the last approach because it can become slow if the size of the data is big. In order to demonstrate this, I'll show two data tables, and we can select via Boolean parameter which method should be used. Let's proceed further. FlowR can easily display at once multiple documents of different kinds, should it be Excel file, PDF plot, or generated HTML document. Now I'm going to add some PDF charts to the output. One of the very useful features of FlowR is an ability to generate dynamic menus, where each element of the menu is attached to some R function. It allows to create, may I say, applications inside application. And in our example, I'll define a small function that is increasing a counter variable when the user clicks a menu button. At the end, I'll add a step with more complex parameters management. The step is to simplify the renaming of the entries in the data frame. Our workflow is ready. We can save it now as part of the bundle in order to use later on, or if you wish to share it with colleagues. Now let us look at this software from a different perspective. Assume that you are a person without any knowledge of R and programming, maybe not even a statistician. You run FlowR application, and the only thing you have to do as a user is to load an existing bundle file. That's it. Then you go straight to analysis section and start the data processing with the press of a single button. Initialize. Let's go from step to step. On the left side of the window, one can see a representation of our workflow we just created in the form of a tree. User see which steps are dependent, which should happen next, and he can switch between steps that have been already calculated. On the right side of the window, there is a produced output from R script for each individual step. The data output for each step is preserved, as well as the layout of the panels. So, for instance, you can tailor it to your preferences. And you see, when I switch between steps, the layout is restored. So, for instance, Here you see the HTML output from R. Here you see the output from data frames. We have two tables. And let's say we would like to see only the output of the CSV file. Let's just do it. Click Recalculate button, and now we have only a single table visible. What has happened now, we just used parameters which have been exposed to the user. Now I'm going to check if renaming is working. This data frame has a column with species. So let's see how many species we have. We have 3 of them. Let's try to rename one of them. Click Recalculate. And now you see, name has been changed for the whole dataset. Thank you very much for your attention.